Fuck. All right. Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed your short break, or whatever break you guys took. I hope you took a break after that last episode, because there's more to come. All right. And so, that being said, welcome to fucking part 2 of Montreal Hit Mishap, the Montreal Mishap, on In the Mind of Madness. And so, if you're just listening to this, then you're fucking go one episode before this. This is a continuation. I don't think I need a previous. Do you guys need a previous? Okay, I'm previously on In the Mind of Madness. So I gave you the whole precursor story leading up to the event that caused, or no, the event or the, yeah. So the event that gave us a reason to go to Montreal. So, yeah, this is why we did what we did that made us go, yeah, fuck it. So, it's like a 4-parter story, which I'm trying to fit into these 2 episodes, so this should fit the second half. Or was I? Yeah. So, him not doing anything to respond or even do anything about the guy who robbed him sent out a message that there's no consequences, and I was the one to respond to that message, right? But I wouldn't respond to that message till maybe a year or to a year and a half later, because yeah, so like I mentioned before that story, his girl was telling me about the 11 grand that he had, and she was bitching about him being stingy and shit, which he was. So when he got robbed the first time, that's when I had the idea. I was like, shit, he ain't gonna do shit? Okay, cool. That just told me that I could rob him easily next, like, sometime. So that's when I thought to myself, so I was like, shit, alright, cool. What if I rob this guy then? He ain't gonna do shit about it, because he didn't do shit about the other guy. And he knew more about that guy than me at that time. So it's like, he's not gonna do anything about it? Okay, cool. I know how he's now. So yeah, it's the exact reason why you don't do that shit. And especially if you have somebody like around you all the time, you gotta show them that what you're gonna do too. No, I think it's the people closest to you where you need to show them the most that you are not to be fucked with. Because if the people closest to you know that they can't fuck with you, then they gonna send that message for you. You ain't gotta go send that message, right? But he chose to show me that he ain't gonna do shit and that there's no consequences to robbing him or fucking with him. And you know what? This guy always talked like he big, like he always got into fights and shit like that. I don't know how tough this motherfucker is, but I don't need to know. He could be the toughest motherfucker on the planet and the greatest fighter in the world. But that's not gonna matter if you don't do anything with that. Or if you like not do anything after you get robbed or if someone fucks with you, then it doesn't matter if you're the best fighter in the world. And anyone's gonna fuck with you anyways. What's the point? Right? So yeah. So with that being said, I was like, yo, he's not gonna do shit. That's when I thought to myself, I was like, alright, cool. I feel like I should, like, I was like, what if I rob him? I was like, you know what? Maybe I will. I was like, if there's a good chance to, somewhere down the line, like, let me get the most I could get out of this guy first. Like, he's got all the drugs and shit like that, so I'm gonna keep taking him, man. Like, oh, man. But, yeah. I thought to myself, I was like, okay, until that time, if the time comes where it's a perfect opportunity to fucking get this guy, I'll take it. But that's where I got the idea. I just didn't know when still. And I didn't know how to rob this guy or what I could rob from this guy. Because this was just maybe a month into me actually like consistently hanging out with the motherfucker, right? So I didn't know what he fully had yet. I had to wait it out. I didn't know how I was going to rob him or when I was going to rob him, but I knew that when an opportunity comes through, if an opportunity came up, I would do it. And that I knew that it might actually end up being a long con, you know what I mean? Like a long con game. Like I had to play the long game. I had to go long. I had to fucking, longevity was the fucking key here, as I figured. I just didn't know how long though. But knowing those key points was enough, right? So now back to the point. Fast forward maybe 6-7 months later. I'm not sure exactly. It was around that time. It could be closer to a year too. So yeah, but approximately around that time, we're fast forwarding, and that's when I'm talking with this girl, and she tells me and bitching about that 11, like being stingy, and but despite him having 11 grand in his savings. And at that point I was like, oh fuck, I was like, man, if I could get that, that'd be fucking dope. But at the time, for some reason, because I don't know, they had this thing with banking and all that shit, so at the time I thought, I was like, oh, when she said 11 grand, I thought it was in his bank. So I was like, ah, fuck, it's in his bank, whatever. I was like, okay, cool. But when she said 11 grand, I was like, fuck, okay, I am gonna fucking rob this guy then for sure. And that's when I found out what I was going to rob and what like his worth was, and like if it was worth robbing him. I was like, okay, so it is worth robbing. That's when I confirmed that, yeah, I am going to rob him. I know what I'm going to try and get, and it is worth it getting it. 11 grand, fuck yeah. So at the time too, especially even now, like 11 grand's a fucking lot. Like, fuck. Hell yeah. So I was like, thank you, girl, for telling me and letting your boy know you really do love me. So that's when I confirmed that. But now I knew that, and that I knew what I was gonna do, what I was gonna take. Now I just need to find out how I'm gonna do it and when, right? So fast forward even more after that, maybe like 3-4 months later. So maybe like a year, a little bit after a year. That's when, right? That's when we were chilling one time, and at this point, not even this point, even before that, when she was telling me about the money he had, like the amount of money. By that time, like we already built like a really good rapport, like a very trusting like rapport. Like we built that trust bond, and I, put like shit that valued him me, whatever. I left it out there. I left money, whatever, and I was like, yeah, I trust you guys, whatever. And they're like, yeah, we trust you, whatever. That kind of shit. Where, I built that trust with them, and so a lot of the times they would be doing their business or doing whatever in front of me and not really giving a shit, right? And leaving all their product out, whatever, for me, and like knowing that I worked hard to build that trust, and I gave a little bit of my shit as well too, is like to show a sign of trust as well, and that I do trust. So there was we had this very trusting understanding and mutual trust and bond, you're right, whatever. So we built that. Now fast forward to maybe a little bit after a year, there was a couple times where they would be doing business, or like they would be counting the cash and like from a deal, or like tallying up the weeks, whatever, however the fuck they do their own like finances and shit. But one time I seen his girl on the bed, and fuck off, girl on the bed, and she was counting out cash and shit, right? And then it was a lot of cash. I was like fucking 50s and 100s. It was on the bed. I detailed that in the book. There's a little bit more detail I won't mention here, but so she was counting it. I didn't ask them how much it was, but at eyeball level, like, it looked like about like a couple $100. I was like, well, shit, okay. I was like, fuck. I don't know. She was saying how she was gonna have to. They're trying to exchange it for like bigger bills or some shit, or like they're gonna have to deposit it or some shit. And like she's like, she was organizing, because apparently that was the stash. That was the cash stash, right? So I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, so that's a stash of cash. I was like, is that the 11 grand, or is that just part of the 11 grand, or is that a completely separate account of money? You know what I mean? So now I'm trying to like do these things in my head and try and figure that out. So I'm not asking these directly, because I'm trying to ask as little as possible about this shit and just kind of organically find things out about it. You know what I mean? So she's counting the cash, and then I didn't ask what it was for, but I'm trying to remember how the fuck this went. Oh yeah, and also because she said that she saw like his fucking stash. It was just fucking messy and like all fucking things. So she was organizing it to kind of keep it so it's easier for like them to count it and shit. And so she was like organizing it all and all that shit, putting like each denomination to whatever, I don't know. Apparently he was just stuffing all that shit in there, but so she was organizing it and trying to make it easier to count up and then kind of tally it up and shit. So So she was just about done, right? She put the last, like, I think she counted in like halves or whatever, but, or like different thing, but there was still some bills already. Took out this envelope, and then it was like a used mailing envelope, like some FedEx thing, and then I seen that there was already like a bit of cash already in there when she put the rest, I guess the rest of whatever that cash was. So she was finished, and then she put it in there, and I saw she put it in there, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So I was like, now I know that there was more than just a couple hundred, but it still looked like maybe close to like $1,000 that I was thinking of. I was like maybe $1,000-$2,000 in that envelope. So I was like, okay, now is that $2,000 part of the 11, or is that a completely separate, and then there's still an 11, you know? So now that's my last two questions that I need to fucking thing. And then now where do you keep that envelope? And I seen where she put that envelope, right? It wasn't even fucking a secure place. It was just like right there, you know, in a plastic fucking drawer. Has no room for a lock or no nothing. It's the only thing that was in that drawer too. One envelope. And I was like, okay, cool. Fuck. So now I know where it's at. Well, some of it where it's at, and all that shit. And then yeah, so that's when I figured out where it was, what I'm gonna get, and well, one of the things I was gonna get. It wasn't that $11,000 yet because I wasn't sure. So figured out where that was kept, right? I was like, okay, cool. This plan's coming together slowly. We're almost there. So maybe like a month later, we're talking about it, whatever. And I don't know how we got onto the topic, but the $11,000, or we didn't say the $11,000, but he said like the main savings account. That's what like she called it, and that's what she meant by it, was the $11,000. I was like, oh shit. And somehow, and then after came onto the topic of keeping it in the bank, and then he's like, what the fuck? He mentioned that he didn't keep it in a bank. And he's like, yeah, no, oh, because we were talking about banks, and I was like, yeah, I don't keep any of my fucking money in the bank either. It's like, when my check comes in, I fucking like withdraw all the cash in there and just hold on to it. That was back then. This time, I put it into my tax-free savings account with Wealth Simple and my high interest checking account at Wealth Simple as well. My TFSA, I'm able to trade and buy shares and stocks at market price and have tax-free gains over them. And with a high savings checking account of 1.5%, my money does work even when I'm not. So please join your banking with Wealth Simple, who has no association to this podcast at all and is definitely not sponsored by them. I just love Wealth Simple and their service. There's your free promo ad, Wealth Simple. Give me that monthly millionaire win. So yes, we got onto that topic, and I told him that, yo, I withdraw all my cash. And he's like, yeah, man, same. He's like, I don't keep no fucking money in the bank. I don't trust that either. And then, the light bulb just shined brighter than ever in my fucking head, on top of my head, and just exploded. And I was like, holy fuck. And I just put it together. And the way he is, and the way I know him, he's not fucking putting different stashes of cash in different places. He's put them all in one fucking place. And he says he don't keep it in the bank. And I just seen them counting a stack full of cash. I put 2 and 2 together. And I figured that fucking envelope I saw her put in that super unsecure fucking plastic drawer right there out in the open, I'm willing to bet that that's the whole $11,000 that she was telling me about. I never confirmed it because I'm not going to go ask her about it and be like, oh yeah, so Thing said that he doesn't keep his money in the bank. So is that one that you put in there the other time? That like amount that you were talking about? No, I didn't tell her that. I didn't ask her. I just, in my head I was like, I'm willing to bet that that was it. And it was kind of a gamble, but it wasn't a gamble. It was a very educated guess, which most of the time, if I come up with an educated guess, a hypothesis, most of the time is correct. Because that just means I like looked into it, I pieced it together, I thought about it, yes. So I was willing to bet, because at that point, it would have been a fucking surefire win. So yeah, I was willing to bet my life, that cash that she put into that drawer was the fucking 11 grand. So, and I didn't even react to that either, and then I didn't mention it again. So, now, with that little tidbit of information, that was the final fucking felony stone that I needed to complete all fucking 5 fucking infinite felony stones on my gauntlet of criminality and robbery and what fucking debauchery. Yeah. That was the last fucking stone that I needed to fucking piece together my scheme. So now that little tidbit of information, that little blank has been filled out, I now know if it's worth robbing him, yes. What I can take from him, like how much I can take from him, and where it is. And yep. Now I know, yeah, so now I know where it is, like where it's at. And now that I knew that was the 11 grand, that confirmed it, that I was going to do it. I mean, like, that's for sure that it's going to happen. I already knew I was going to do it. I mean, fuck, sorry. Okay, with that piece of information, I knew that it was going to happen, like, anytime now. Like, I could do it tomorrow if it was a good time to. Because, like, that's all that's, left is now a matter of when. And with all of my fucking infinity stones ready to go, that means at a moment's notice, it can happen. And that moment is going to be a week later after that whole conversation and where I found out where it was, and that I pieced together that envelope in that drawer was the 11 grand word, like, that we were speaking of. It was, yeah, a week after that, the greatest opportunity I could ever get presented itself in the most wondrous way possible. So, a week later, I hit him up to go do our usual chill out session, see what other drugs I can get from this guy, you know, the usual shit. I hit him up. Nothing. What the fuck? Okay. Texted him. Nothing. Hours go by. Call him again. Nothing. I was like, what the fuck? What happened? So I'm calling this guy. Nothing. And so I try to call his girl, hit his girl up. Nothing either. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell's happening? I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I was like, okay, let me go over there. Because most of the time, if they don't pick up, I'll just go over there anyways. They even said, they're like, yo, if we don't pick up, just come through anyway. Like, we're probably just away from our phone. So I was like, okay, they're probably busy, or they probably don't have their phone, or they're just, out or some shit like that, right? So I was like, all right, let me go grab that. But usually, like, they'll message back. But, like, I hit them up, like, throughout the morning and throughout the afternoon. And it was becoming evening time, and I still haven't. And this was the first time where I didn't hear from them, like, either one of them, like, that long. Usually, one of them will message me or, like, respond to me by afternoon time or some shit, right? So I was like, okay, whatever. So now I was passing, like, late afternoon time, right? Going into evening time, and there's still nothing, right? And then his girl calls. I was like, oh, yo, what the fuck? I'm just about to, like, get ready and, like, hit y'all up. She's like, yo, so she's like, so you haven't heard from Thing yet? From her man? I was like, no. What do you mean? She's like, oh, fuck. She's like, I was worried. She's like, oh, I fell asleep earlier today or whatever. Because she didn't stay with him that time. She was at her grandma's, which was, like, in between where I was living and where he was staying. And she was staying, and her grandma lived there. And that's where she was supposed to actually be staying until she started living with this guy. But her parents and everything, to them, like, she's staying at my grandma's place. So her grandma had I don't know why she didn't. Her grandma's condo is fucking amazing. I haven't actually been there, but, like, yo, you see the outside and you see the people that are, like, living there. It's a nice fucking condo. And she chooses to go live it in the fucking dump with this fucking guy. I guess that's what love will do, right? Right? Yeah. So she was staying at her grandma's, and she hit me up and she's like, yo, so you haven't spoken to him? I was like, no. Like, I've been trying to. I've been hitting y'all up. She said she was, like, asleep throughout the morning time because, yeah, she's usually up late. She'll sleep until the afternoon. And then she woke up. She's been trying to hit him up, and he hasn't picked up either. And he hasn't. And usually he'll definitely pick up, like, even an hour or two after. So that's why she hit me up. She's like, yo, I haven't heard from him at all. And if he hasn't replied to her, then she's never been concerned about him not replying, because he's never not replied to her. Like, he'll always just either message her, or like, if the only time where they wouldn't talk or like they'd ignore each other is if they were fighting, but they didn't have a fight prior to this, which was what made it odd. So that's why she hit me up. She's like, okay, so you haven't heard from him? I haven't heard from him. What the fuck's happening? And she's like, she's getting worried. And in my head, I was like, what if this guy got arrested? Because that's usually what happens when you get like, when you're living that life and you're in this shit. Like, when you know somebody's in this shit and then they don't respond, or you're trying to hit them up and they disappear off the face of the earth, like out of nowhere. High chances are it's because they got arrested. That's usually why that shit happens with me. You know what I mean? When people hit me up and I suddenly disappear and shit, it's because I got arrested. So that's why when she was telling me this shit, I was like, fuck, what if this guy got arrested? And in my head, I was thinking, but I didn't want to believe it. Not because he's my like homie or like because I like the guys, because man, where the fuck am I gonna get my drugs if this guy doesn't come back? Right? So I was concerned too. I was like, shit, okay. Fuck. So that's why it was in my head. I was like, shit, okay. So maybe this guy got arrested. I didn't say it to her at first, but then she kind of knew it too, because she was like, man, you think he got arrested? I was like, man, I don't know. I told her straight up, I was like, I don't want to I don't want to think that he did, but realistically, like, the signs are pointing to it. Then later on, I was like, okay, not later on. I mean, like, after that conversation, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the house and check it out and see where he's at or what he's doing. The other option, she was thinking that it was like he was dead, but what he died from or whatever, right? But so I was like, okay, I don't know if he's dead, but he didn't. Okay, could be a possibility too, right? But so yeah, I was just thinking, okay. I told her I'm going to the house in a bit. I was getting ready anyway. She's like, okay, cool. Also in my head, I was like, man, if this guy's gone and got arrested, I was like, sick. Now I could just like chill with this girl for like, you know, just be us kind of thing. You know what? Okay, it is kind of asshole thinking, but you know what? That's who I was back in the day. And plus, this guy was a fucking prick, so I didn't give a shit. And plus, his girl deserved way better. And I'm 100% sure that I could give that to her at the time. I'm pretty sure now I still can't, but whatever. Back to the point. So I was like, okay, let's check it out. So I think I was supposed to pick her up, and then we were supposed to go there together, but I think she was busy, or she was doing something where she wasn't able to go with me. So she's just like, okay, cool, okay, like, check it out, and then just give me a call to see what happens after you get there. It's like, okay. So I got there. So I go to the house. I let her know. I was like, all right, I'm pulling up to the house. I'll let you know what happens after. So I'm pulling up. I pull right up to the fucking door. I step out. There's steps supposed to, because their entrance was at the back of the house by the garage. So there's steps when you pull up to the garage. There's like a gate, and you go through the gate, and then there's a couple steps that lead down, and then after it goes right, and then you turn right, and then it goes down a couple more steps, and then the entrance is on the side. So I go through the gate, and then the gate, like, it has a spring, so it opens and closes automatically. So that's nothing odd there that I would notice, because it just closes. So then as I'm going down the steps, I noticed that the door is open. I was like, this motherfucker. Oh, because you pass by his window also on the way down to down the steps. He has his window to his room. Huge ass fucking window. So I look at the window, and like the curtain was closed, but the light was on. And I was like, this motherfucker, like, never has his light on during the day. You know what I mean? So I was like, it was weird. Also, his door was wide open as well. I seen from the window. So what the fuck? So then, as I'm going down, I noticed that the front door is wide open as well. It has the screen door, but that one has that spring shit where it closes automatically too. That's why I didn't notice it. It looked closed. But then I was going down, I noticed that the front door was wide open. So I was like, what the fuck? And yo, they have this whole thing there where there's people that live in that house as well. So they didn't want to fucking... and these guys are so fucking thing about leaving the front door open, right? Anybody can go in and out. Also, it's like a university campus, so there's a lot of people that go through there and that can go in. So the front door being open, they always close that shit, which is weird. That's why I was like, why is it open? What's even weirder was that the door to his room where he was staying, that was just completely left open, and he never leaves that shit open because of the people that live in the house. Like people have had their shit stolen there. He hasn't, but like, you know, people have said. And plus, like, they're right by the door, so like everybody on that floor, like, all the rooms on that floor, they pass by his room to go out. So yeah, so it's like anybody walks by, sees it, they'll just fucking go in, whatever. So they never leave that door open. Never is it open. I've never seen it left open without, unless they're there, obviously, but never once has they left it open with no one there, unattended. This time it was, so it was wide open. I was like, okay, fuck, maybe, because there's times where he just, if he needs to make a deal outside or like meet someone down the street, like, he'll step out quickly and then he'll meet them there. But even in those cases, he'll still close the doors. He'll even lock his while he was gone. But I figured, okay, maybe he left. The lights were still on and everything. I was like, maybe he went out for a bit. I noticed, but then I noticed on the table, his phone was there. His fucking, oh no, his phone wasn't there. His keys were there. His wallet was there. And this motherfucker didn't drive, but he had a skateboard, and he took that skateboard everywhere with him, this fucking guy. And he would never leave without his skateboard, ever, never once. But his skateboard was there this time. Even his fucking like hat and his glasses that he always wears, no matter what, is all there. All this shit's there. I was like, what the fuck? This guy just went like fucking barefooted out and then just fucking thing. That's why I was like, fuck, I think this guy did get arrested. Cause no one, like, yo, legit looked like he got kidnapped. All this shit was still there. Doors were left open. The only thing that showed kind of wasn't like a break-in, like fucking break and kidnap, like break in and like kidnap him off from inside his room. Is like his room was still in order. So it just looks like he walked out and then someone snatched him off the street, kind of thing. Which is kind of what happened. So that this point I was like, fuck. I called this girl and I was like, yo, all the shit's still here. The door's left open. She started panicking. She's like, fuck. I think he got arrested. I was like, yeah, it's starting to look that way. And I was like, unless someone just snatched him off the street, you know what I mean? I was like, but you haven't got a ransom call, so I'm pretty sure he got arrested. And so I was like, fuck. All right. And one detail I'm probably not going to put in the book, and one detail that I'm only going to say here is, yeah, when I went to go check out his place, all the shit was still there, whatever. And I was like, oh, fuck. His wallet was still there. I took whatever the fucking cash was in his fucking pocket. I took some fucking, we left his jacket pocket, some on the table, some joints and shit. I fucking took that shit too, yo. Because at the end of it, everybody walked by his room and it was been open the whole fucking day, which means, so anybody could just walked in there and taken it. No one did, but I did. So I took some fucking cash. I took some fucking weed. I was like, fuck yeah. Whatever that would be, like, items that could easily be stolen, like, right there by people walking in, and like people could actually take, like, I took that shit. Fuck it. I kind of did rob him before I actually robbed him. so yeah, I took a little bit of those items. And then after she was asking me, she's like, oh my god, she's like, yo, so that means his whole door was open the whole fucking time. I was like, yeah. I was like, it's been there. It's like, yo, it's been open the whole day, it means. Because I was like, when was the last time you talked to him? She's like, yeah, like last night, like really late, whatever. So I was like, okay, it's been open for that long. I was like, oh shit, it's been open the whole day. So I was like, fuck. I was like, yeah, so it's been like this, and no one's closed it. No one's closed the front door, which means like it's been like that for like God knows how long, right? So I was like, okay. So she's like, shit. She's like, so what's left there? I was like, his wallet, some of his like fucking weed or whatever. I was like, his keys, his like skateboard. She's like, oh shit. She's like, can you take his wallet and then, or like put it somewhere safe, or either that or like she said to Brain so I could give it to her. Oh no, she said to leave it because she was gonna come take it. She was gonna get there whenever she was able to, and she was gonna get like all the personal belongings and shit. So I was like, okay. So she's like, just can you just close the door and lock? Yeah, she said to lock it. I think she had a key, but I don't know, whatever. But she said to just lock, like close it up and like, you know, make it look like whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, so I fucking, yeah, just I was like, okay, if I'm gonna lock this, I was like, man, there was a little bit more weed, some more cash in there that I fucking think. So I was like, fuck. So before I locked it up, I just went in, grabbed a little bit more of what I can. So then, yeah, then close it up. So, yeah. So stole a bit before, and then, yeah, close up. And then later on in the day, in the evening time, his stepdad calls me. First of all, no idea how he got my number at that time, like at that moment. And then I was like, yo, what's up? He's like, oh, this is Thing's stepfather. I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? He's like, yo, did you oh, they wanted to know his girl's number. They're like, do you have her number? Because we got a call that he's been arrested or some shit. Oh no, he was asking for a number. I was like, oh shit, I don't know. And they're like, have you spoken to Thing? And I was like, to his stepson. I was like, no, I haven't actually heard from him all day. Even his girl, I told him that his girl was trying to call, and then whatever. He's like, okay, yeah. He's like, you haven't heard from him because he got arrested. I was like, what the fuck, really? He's like, yeah, he got arrested. I was like, for what? He's like, I don't know, I'm trying to find out, whatever. And he's like, I just need to call like his girl. I was like, okay, here's her number. And then yeah, found out he got arrested, whatever. This motherfucker stole from an undercover cop. Not stole, I mean, he sold to an undercover cop. And I was like, you fucking idiot. I was like, man, that's a different story in itself. So moving on. He's like, yeah. So besides that, he sold to an undercover cop and got his ass arrested. Fucking dumbass. So that's what happened. That's why. And he was so for the next 2 days, his girl was trying to scramble to look for his a surety as to post his bail. So eventually they were able to get his bail. She just had to find which courtroom it was, and it was a whole mess, and I was trying to like go there with her and all that shit. And then we did go one time and then wasn't there, and then yeah. So the next couple of days we were just mentioning, trying to find where he was, and then she found out where he was, and then yeah, she was trying to find out how I could post bail, whatever. And then she was gonna ask if I could be his surety. I was like, fuck no, I'm gonna try and be this motherfucker's surety. This guy's gonna get booked again, guaranteed. And so also I had a record, so I couldn't be surety. I couldn't post his bail or anything. So we were trying to find somebody that could, and she couldn't because I don't think she was a citizen here yet, or I don't know actually, but she wasn't able to. So I think she might have had a small record as well too. I don't know, but there was something where she couldn't do it, so we were just scrambling, trying to find someone to do it. So yeah, so all that shit happened. Moving forward, we got like he was able to get bail, and he got out for like a couple days after, like a week after. So yeah. So then, okay, cool, whatever. So I was like, shit, all right. Also, yeah, he got out a week later, and then that was it. And then I didn't rob the fucking 11 grand from that time because at that point I was the only one that knew where it was. So, and no one in that house would like ransack their place like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would like. And the two people that lived there, like, yeah, it just would have been obvious that it was me. Unless I made it look like the room got trashed and everything. But then there was a camera at the entrance of the door, so then they would just see who went in and out of that place. And then if it got trashed, they would obviously blame like the two people, and then they would say it wasn't, and then it'd be obvious that it was me. That's why I didn't take that. I just took like the small shit that people would go into and just be like, okay, shit, and take it, whatever. In the end, they didn't even notice that shit was gone, that I took it. Because he got out a week later, and no mention of it. He didn't even say anything was missing. So that was it. So they completely didn't. I got away with all that money. It was like a couple $100 too. Well, not even. It was like, yeah, 100 something bucks. And yeah, fucking couple grams of weed. Awesome. Whatever. So yeah, he got a week out later, and then just chilling. Normal shit again. Usual shit again. I was like, fuck. And while he was gone, I didn't even think about like robbing during the time until I was like, fuck, I need to be I thought about doing it, but I was like, man, I need to be sure that he was not coming back, like, and when he was coming back. And also like right after that, like I was with his girl most of the time trying to figure shit out to do. And then when I would leave, like she would stay at like at his place where, you know, just to look after it and shit. So other than that, there was really I was either with her or she was in place. So the only time that I would have been able to take it was when I went in there to initially do like a welfare check, but then it would have been obvious that it was me. So there was no opportunity at that time where it wouldn't look like it was me. So after he got out, we still just went back to normal, you know, and chilling, whatever. And then He was just telling me about, oh yeah, how he spent like the night, a couple nights or a weekend like that in jail and shit like that. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And then he tells me he has another court date to attend in the morning, like in 3 weeks. And I was like, oh, so it's in the morning. You're gonna be fucking downtown. And this was like, they were pretty up north or whatever, right? So downtown they had to go to in the courtroom. And I was like, oh shit, when is that? And they told me it was like next month. They told me the day, I forgot, whatever. But I marked that day down because I was like, fuck, I know court, and I know court days, and I know how long the motherfucking shit's there. And if they're in the morning, that means they gotta be out of here. It was a 9 a.m. court, so they had to be in court at 9 a.m., which means it was like maybe like an hour to an hour and a half to get there from that place, because they're gonna have to train and shit. Because I was like, I even told them, I was like, I'm not driving y'all downtown. I was like, I'll go with you, I'll probably attend there too, but I was like, I'm not driving. Because I was like, I'm not paying for a park, it's expensive there. So, okay, I was like, I can go with you guys. And they're like, no, you don't have to, don't worry, it's just, we'll handle it, it's just the first appearance thing. I was like, okay, cool. But I was pressing to go, so I had an alibi of why a thing. And now we'll get to that. So I was alright, cool, fine, whatever. They're like, yeah, you don't have to. I was like, I insist. I gotta be there for you, for the support, for morale. And they're like, okay, cool. If you can make it, then yeah, it's true. But it's just first appearance. I was like, yeah, don't worry, man. First appearances, man. So, yeah. So I marked down when, and yeah. So then I'm gonna have to take an hour to get there, because I wasn't gonna drive. I wouldn't have drove. But yeah, at least an hour. Then they gotta wait. And sometimes those court things, man, like never is it quick. So like they're gonna be there guaranteed. I figured that they would be there maybe until 12 p.m. 12 to 1 p.m. Right? To the latest. If you have a 9 a.m. one, most of the time it'll be done by like 2 the latest. Otherwise, like, they either forgot about you or you didn't show up. So, holy fuck. This is already coming to the end of the episode. Man, I'm gonna have to make a third part. I'm gonna have to make a part 3. A 3-episode release. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe. But this is the end of this like precursor thing. So the third part will be the actual mishap. Yeah, maybe there's to be events leading to. Anyway, whatever. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, so I figured that they're gonna be there till 12 or 1. I was like, sick. So this day, on this court day, 3 weeks, him and his girl, I'd be out to court all fucking day, all fucking morning. And so I was like, okay. I was like, we've got the day of when we're going to do the robbery. I know you're thinking, how are you going to attend the court case and rob the place at the same time? Well, you're right. I guess you're going to have to wait till the next episode then, huh? No, I'm playing. No, you're right. So, okay. So that's when I came up with a plan. I was like, that's the perfect time because both of them are going to be out. And it's plenty of time in between whatever for, some encounters and some shit to happen or whatever. So, plenty of time in between. So, there were, so it was like 3 weeks later. It was a good amount of time. So, yeah. I went on. I was like, okay, cool. Now I know. Now that was legit the final piece of information I needed to know. Now we have the date of when it's going down. So, it has been set forth into motion. This new scheme. A new plot has arisen. So, now I knew everything. I just needed to put it all together and set it, like put the plan in place. Because, yeah. So, my plan was that I attend his court date. So, I had an alibi. So, they knew for sure it could not have been me. So, that was the plan. But I was go with them to court or meet them downtown in court, like early in the morning. And then, while they're in court, I was going to get somebody to go rob the place. And while we were in court. And so, when came back, we all came back together and discovered the place has been ransacked or have been bamboozled. You know what I mean? Not bamboozled, but that they've been robbed and that they've been taken while we were in court. And I'd be there and be like, what the fuck? Oh, acting all surprised and shit. And then, while I'm helping them out and shit, I'm like, alright, cool. Find a way to home. Once I got home, then I'll meet up with the guy would be like, alright, so how was it? And then boom, there we go. That was the plan. That was the plan. And there was one person I knew that would do this, and that would be willing to, and that would happily do it, was one of my other boys from way back that I went to high school with. We got into some shit. Like, not like we got into shit, but like we would get into shit. Like, we would get in trouble like a lot of times. And this guy was like my partner in crime before the crime. So, that's who I called forth and summoned to help me fulfill this plot of thievery against my once thought of ally or acquaintance. Yes. However you want to call it. But yeah. So that was the plan. And that's what we was going to do. So now that's what I had in mind. That was the scheme. That was the play that was drawn up on the whiteboard. Okay? Now this is what really happened. I'm going to tell you on the next episode. Because yes, it's reaching the end of this motherfucker shit. And since the precursor to the precursor event, which gave us the reason to go to Montreal, which was the thing that got us booked, is now done. So that precursor story is done. And now it's going, next episode, I'll tell you what really happened, and I'll tell you the fucking, like, the robbery and how it actually all went down. So, yes, I'll see y'all in a bit. And thank you for joining me on the days leading up to the Montreal mishap, which will be next episode, which will also be released alongside these two, I guess. So, see y'all in a bit again. And now this concludes the days leading up to the Montreal mishap. So, until next episode, which will be shortly, and I'll see you then. So keep grinding, living, laughing, learning, loving, hustling, everything, all that good shit. We getting it. Alright, I'll see you in a bit.
Madness. This is criminal!